Noted, sweetheart. She stood at the top of the stairs, jaw tight, eyes full of that teenage brand of rage, wild, unformed, and cruel. I wish you were dead. Mom's new boyfriend is my real dad. Silence. A long one. I didn't even blink. I let the words settle like ash on everything I once thought was stable. My coffee was still warm. I set it down without a sound. No dramatics, no retaliation. Just, noted, sweetheart. I didn't see her face after that. I didn't need to, because the man she hated had just disappeared. I didn't yell, didn't argue, didn't defend myself. I just started dying. Quietly, strategically. By day 5, she was crying in the hallway, begging, but I wasn't listening, because the man she killed with her words didn't come back when summoned. He was too busy digging up the grave she thought he'd stay buried in. It wasn't the first time she screamed at me, but it was the first time it felt real, like she meant it, like it wasn't just anger, but a belief that had been planted, nurtured by someone else. Jake, her mother's new boyfriend. Too charming, too available, too eager to replace me. They said it started after the divorce, that it was innocent, casual. But I remembered Jake, from years back, a friend of a friend, a dinner party, a smirk. He shook my hand too long, looked at my wife too hard. I brushed it off then. Now, I watched my daughter parrot his phrases like gospel. Jake understands me. Jake actually cares. At first, I blamed hormones, teenage confusion, a bitter divorce. But one night, I caught her texting him after midnight. She hid the screen like it was contraband. My gut twisted. Something was off. I knew betrayal. I'd lived through it once. But this felt colder, like it had been engineered. I didn't shout, I didn't confront. I did what quiet men do when they're being erased. I listened, I observed, and then I acted, calmly. I ordered a DNA kit online, used her toothbrush, my own blood, dropped it at the post office like a man mailing his own obituary. While I waited, I traced Jake's past, a LinkedIn, a deleted Facebook account, a high school yearbook scanned into an archive. My wife and Jake went to prom together. She told me once she never had a date. Lie. I found an old burner phone she used to hide in the closet, tucked behind her scarves. Photos, messages, dates. One picture stopped my breath. My daughter, maybe 8, on Jake's shoulders. 2018. We were still married. My knuckles went white gripping the phone, but I stayed quiet, still. I wasn't angry. I was becoming something else, colder, sharper, patient. The envelope came 3 days later, unmarked, clinical. Inside, a sheet of numbers, ratios, columns, percentages. The summary was 2 lines. Paternity probability 0.00%. Conclusion, alleged father excluded. I stared at it for a long time, not because I was surprised, but because it was over now. There was no longer any need to guess, no need to love someone who wasn't mine. That night I placed the report on the dining table. No words, no explanation. She found it during breakfast. I watched her face tighten, eyes flitting across the numbers, then back to me. I took a bite of toast, chewed, swallowed. "You knew?" she whispered. I sipped my coffee. "Since the night you killed me." Power without noise. She tried to explain. Of course she did. Said she was confused, that it was a mistake, that she was scared I'd leave. I didn't raise my voice, didn't call her names, didn't tell her what she really was. I just slid the custody agreement across the table. Full transfer to her mother. Immediate. "I don't belong here," I said.
"You're still my dad," she choked. I smiled without warmth. No, I was a placeholder, a lie. She grabbed my wrist. I didn't know, I didn't ask to be born, and yet, here we are. I pulled my hand away, left the house without packing a single thing, because ghosts don't take luggage. Now I rent a small apartment, quiet, sparse, clean, no reminders, no frames on the walls, no echoes of someone else's choices. Sometimes I sit in the dark and try to remember when I stopped being a father. Was it the day I found the photo? Or the night she screamed? Maybe it was long before that. Maybe I was just playing a role someone else wrote for me. But the curtains dropped, and I'm done pretending. They wanted me dead, so I gave them exactly that. Not buried, just dead enough.